What's going on, Colts Nation? Appreciate you joining me today. By now, you've had to have heard the news. If you're a Colts fan and you're tuning in, you probably know Deforest Buckner got broken off today, got a new contract, got the bag, however you want to word it. Deforest Buckner sticking around in Indiana for a couple more years, was already on contract for this year, but signed an extension to add 2 years for an average annual salary of $23 million. It's 2 years, $46 million. Now, we had talked before about DeForest Buckner and if he ends up getting paid, what the number would be. And I had mentioned right paying DeForest Buckner, for 2 or 3 more years and giving him $4 or $5 more million per year. He was already making 21 million. When we traded for him, he got a contract 4 years, $84 million. So $21 million a year. I thought maybe he gets paid 25 a year, 26 a year, and kind of up near those other guys. But instead, gets a what would be considered a good deal for what some of these guys are making. Getting DeForest Buckner back here, and there are definitely people that are thinking this is a bad deal, or why are we giving somebody that's over 30 years old more money than we're going to give our skill position guys? Why aren't we going out and getting a skill position guy and giving him this kind of money? And that's one of the questions we had asked with the DeForest Buckner conversation is, do you lose DeForest Buckner, or do you keep DeForest Buckner and just be okay with paying him instead of keeping that money and being able to pay somebody this offseason or next offseason and go away from that? DeForest Buckner is still really good. He plays through injuries, so he's going to be on the field. But when you look at it, Stephen Holder put something on Twitter that I thought was interesting. He said a key stat on DeForest Buckner from ESPN Analytics: his 65% double team rate since 2020 ranks fourth among defensive tackles behind Dexter Lawrence, Aaron Donald, and Chris Jones. Buckner still managed the fifth most pass rush wins amongst defensive tackles during the same span of times. DeForest Buckner is getting double teamed 65% of the time since he became a Colt. And he's still one of the most effective pass rushers from the inside at that three technique. So he's still very valuable. He's valuable in the run game. Everything he does is great. Okay. He's still one of the leaders on this team, being able to retain him. We had mentioned that before. I had talked about in that video, and a lot of people, pretty much everybody, I'm pretty sure, agreed with me that you got to keep DeForest Buckner. You just have to keep DeForest Buckner because of his leadership, because of who he is as a player, right? His ability to play through all these different injuries, and his ability to always show up for the team day in, day out, week in, week out. DeForest Buckner is going to be DeForest Buckner, and we need that on this team. And Charlie Partridge went on Twitter. He does have a Twitter. Coach Partridge, the new defensive line coach, is on Twitter, and he had some words to say, real quick on Twitter. He's basically just saying, it's good to work with you again. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he said. Was going to be good to work with you, and you just have to assume that he was probably a big proponent of that, right? They're trying to get his opinion. Hey, do you have a plan for D-Buck, or could we go away from him? Do we have somebody else that we could get? And with him coming back, I think that answers a lot of questions. They want to have Buckner and they want to have Stewart, and they want to keep those two together. So whatever we do in the draft is going to be focused around the fact that those are our guys for the next couple of years. So we've been thinking defensive tackle, right? Somewhere, anywhere between the first and the third round, get another defensive tackle. I don't see that being the case, right? Unless somebody falls to a certain spot, whether it's first, second, third round, like Braden Fisk, still a good option. Maybe you do bring him in and he's just a rotational piece for the first couple of years of his career. But I just think that, defensive tackle in terms of the draft just became a lot less pertinent, not something the Colts really have to go after. They might want to go get depth at some point, but Dio Dingbo being versatile and Taekwon Lewis having the ability to be versatile if they really need him to, like, they have options. So the Colts being able to lock Buckner up is a great signing for Chris Ballard, and being able to bring him back. You look at some of the other contracts that have been signed by defensive tackles. You have Chris Jones, $31.75 million a year. Christian Wilkins, $27.5 million a year. Justin Metabuke, 24.5 a year. Derek Brown, 24 million a year. Leonard Williams at 21 and a half. Deforest Buckner sitting at 23, one of the highest paid DTs in the NFL, but very much worth it. Anybody that tries to say Deforest Buckner is not worth the contract is just wrong. And I mean, hey, maybe in 2 years or 3 years we come back to this, and you're right. But right now, I think you're wrong. I think Buckner's a great player. I think he's one of the best at his position, especially with Aaron Donald leaving the league. DeForest Buckner, is top 2 or 3 in the NFL at his position. Chris Jones is, of course, going to be at the top of that conversation, but DeForest Buckner is back in Indy. Is growing his family. Him and his family are locked into Indianapolis, are a part of Indianapolis. They love Indianapolis, and DeForest Buckner is a huge part of the community. I don't know if there's any fans that ever say anything bad about DeForest Buckner. Like, he's one of those types of people, one of those types of players, absolutely beloved, and we get to keep him in Indy, hopefully for the rest of his career. Whatever comes after this contract, we'll just have to see. Again, he's with us for the next 3 years, so hopefully whatever it is and however long he plays, we get him for the rest of his career. But we do know we have him until 2027. Love to know your opinion about all this. Let me know how excited you are down in the comments section. And of course, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you get notified about any other videos that we have coming out. I appreciate you joining me for another video. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.